news? Hello there, welcome back to Max Plays Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney! I'm your host, I'm Kieran. On the previous episode, Officer Marshall revealed his true face. The face of a man who does not know much about technology. And we continue in the middle of the action. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Normally that locker shouldn't have opened.
So it opened because a rubber glove was stuck in the door by chance. Then Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall.
I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins, I knocked him out.
You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off?
Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type of person, mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year.
Ah! When did Edgeworth get so much influence?
Anyway, he threw himself at me, and I ended up cutting him up slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything.
By the way, what happened to your knife?
Oh, you mean this one?
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, so what happened next?
Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing?
Fire away, partner, it's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer.
Why did you do all of this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer.
Actually, that was something I wanted to check. Because I was looking for names, but I didn't look for the right names. There, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. I was looking for Meekins, or I was looking for Sky, I was looking for Star. I was not looking for a Marshall. Huh. Maybe you do have a reason, huh, to be involved with this? Jake Marshall.
Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offense.
Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. He can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary.
Not that salary cuts are even a valid solution. Ever.
Huh. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't forget the DL6 incident. You know why?
But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Yo Dark was convicted for those crimes. One thing I can say for sure, he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to wait. I don't intend to complain, partner, about how it turned out and all, but there is something that still bothers me to this day. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Huh.
Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'll wind up here sooner or later. Everyone here is involved with this crime. I would better take another look at the files. Okay, now we have come back. Let's push to the very last one. You know why? Oh, I know why. There's a name. There's a name. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL-9 incident.
Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner.
I have the SL-9 incident file right here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here.
Huh.
And a list of murder victims, no less. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man?
Neil Marshall. Yeah, I suppose I am sure you heard that name. 2 years ago. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got.
What? A prosecutor? He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award.
Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL-9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? It was my brother. That's kind of sad. He was investigating the murder with Damon Gaunt, chief detective at the time. That's him right there. He does look like the protagonist of 1001 Death Spikes. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Yo, this guy looks... Like, what is this Suda51 character doing here? Look at this Killer 7 reject. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. But the sacrifice came at too high a cost. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At last, according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it. That's your reason for your insane actions. There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Huh. Well, at least one thing's for certain. This whole trial is a mess. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day of the SL-9. That was the last day the SL-9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with his resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence.
Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekings confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled.
Yes, this mystery has finally cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day.
Huh.
The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, so-called murder, the fake murder was going on at the police department. Whoops.
Chance? It's still got to be more than just that.
So, if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one.
Which in turn means only one could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky.
But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial.
Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today.
But...
There's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of simultaneous murder at the police department.
It seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner.
All the mysteries at the police department have been uncovered. No contradictions remain. The murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect remaining is Lana Sky. There were no errors in the testimony of the witness, Angel Star. If you have a response, make it one word or less.
Arg!
I rest my case. Ah! I guessed that! Ah, that feels good. That feels good. Writing on point, even after all this stuff.
It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. Game over. There's no room for doubt.
Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time. disproving the alleged murder at the police department.
There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty.
Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. The court finds the defendant.
Of course. Yeah! Your Honor, wait!
Anna?
The defense has an objection, a scientific objection. Right?
What do you mean, right?
Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian?
Your Honor, in a sense, kinda.
Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I will give you 3 seconds. And you're up. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL-9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings.
Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky's sisters were in that file.
But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker?
But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I would be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again.
Huh? So, did you find something?
Wait a minute! I just realized something really wrong with this recording. Oh no, it's at a different resolution. I will be right back. Oh man, I'm gonna have to fix that in post. That was in a completely different resolution. I hope you don't mind that small mistake. Anyhow, let's move on. No.
Huh?
Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all.
Huh? Is that all?
Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
And I'm just an attorney. An ace attorney.
But, Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are there... those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you.
Me? Oh boy.
Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright, with regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain?
It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use, but still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be...
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day.
Yes, Your Honor. If ever I have needed to concentrate, it's now.
Okay, focus, Max. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? I mean, yeah, I have to object.
This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction.
The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright.
You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them?
Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing.
Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there?
Yes, something that when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark.
Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright.
With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use.
The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans?
By the way, I figured it out. I know what it is. We've watched that tape. You have watched that tape with me. Let's look at it for a moment. What's wrong with this tape? I mentioned it earlier. There is something that has affected the floor plans. And it's a pretty interesting, cool thing. And I can't believe the blue badger is meaningful to the plot. It's blocking the mark. In all of the videos, we couldn't actually see it.
What about the piece of plywood, partner?
The blue badger, mascot of the police force, defender of the truth, guardian of proof.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright.
Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The blue badger is not here.
So
watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well,
what?
Huh.
That's right. So long as the blue badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at the spot on the locker.
What? I can't believe that, partner. You're just found a contradiction in this whole case. Oh, so that means, what exactly does that mean?
That the handprint was there before.
It means it can't be done.
What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker.
Don't look at me, I didn't put it in there.
Mr. Wright, think through it scientifically.
Emma.
On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the blue badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker.
So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the blue badger was brought in?
Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom.
It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but know that normal flying Pokemons also deserve some love. But it's the only possible explanation. On February the 21st, the police department's evidence room. Blood was spilled not once, but twice.
But how?
Give me a second.
One time was captured on the tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. My problem is, the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered.
That's ridiculous. I refute you.
I double refute you. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, does that not explain the blood mark found on the locker?
So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves it occurred.
When did the first incident occur?
To surmise the defense claims that, prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was disguised as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that very same evidence room.
The blood mark in the locker proves this.
Very well. Then tell us, when did this first incident occur? Proof must be presented.
Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that.
Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place?
Well, I'm just jumping in, but yeah, this shows it. It has to be between these two times. Perfect. There you go. Boom.
If the crime took place inside the evidence room, when the perpetrator would have to have entered the room, in order to do so, an ID card is required.
An ID card? Oh, the ID card record.
Officer Meekings brought the Blood Badger pattern to the evidence room at...
Let's see here, 4:50. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Miles Ashworth, just what have you done? And I never figured you had the nerve, boy. Put off the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminal test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekings and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood.
That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer.
I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that is physically impossible.
Okay, I think it's nice and noble that they're all like, yeah, that's impossible. You were about to arrest a woman because a guy was murdered at two places at the same time. I mean, really.
That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room.
Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 777. 777. 7.
Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Officer Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer.
Just like Emma entered with us. Or we entered with Emma.
That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 777. 77. 7?
Miles Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 777-77777.
That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I am unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present.
What?
Explain yourselves, huh? The ID number 777777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. But that's ridiculous. Just how?
It's Gaunt or Sky? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority.
If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted.
An official charge?
You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question, partner. Yes. No, not to you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive.
Lana?
Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course, we have looked up her ID number. And it's not 7777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing. About that incident.
The SL-9 incident?
Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? This seems like a bit of an awkward time to bring that up. Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I hadn't fine, Miles Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for the trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least I did.
Huh?
Lana? I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 10 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look at me and an investigator in that crime in the eye, a brother of the man who died, and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't.
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Huh? Why don't you answer him?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to do in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana, even if it involved forging evidence.
Well, there's a problem.
Yeah.
See? That's what I'm talking about.
No. No!
I like her sprite. Cute.
Order! I said order! Well, this is a bit of a mess.
Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. To be next stage.
God, man. Whew. This trial is a thing and a half, I tell you.
I tell you, partner, this trial's a thing and a half.
You know, okay, real talk right now. I haven't done any commentary in a bit of a while, but mostly because there's just so much voice acting. But the voice acting, like, I kind of feel like this game has like trained me, because now I've got like 15 voices. It's ridiculous.
And it's funny, because this voice comes to me very naturally now.
And so does Edgeworth's voice.
It's fun. It's actually really interesting. Lana is the one, like, if I had to rank my voices by the ones that I hate the most or I'm not confident about, Lotta, oh man, Lotta's voice was awful. But above that is Lana, because, like, I don't know, I feel like my fake accent is just too fake. But anyhow,
3:12 p.m., Wright & Co. Law Offices.
I am so sorry, Mr. Wright. I am sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to do in order for him to get the verdict he deserved.
Well, I mean, that makes everybody look bad.
I didn't know. I never knew that the SL-9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings.
Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me.
Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me.
What do you mean, what happened to you?
It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence.
But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma?
What? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me.
What? He tried to kill you?
Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me.
Ooh. That means you.
Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial.
I didn't see that one coming. Even though it's right, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming.
That's hilarious. I love that. Well, let's talk, girl. The SL-9 incident. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office.
Joe Dark.
It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up.
Jake Marshall's brother.
Joe Dark tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Okay, real talk. I actually like how everyone who's been introduced is actually intertwined. I actually like that. I didn't think Emma would be involved in this, but she is, and that's cool. Then,
What happened?
I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now if I just close my eyes.
A permanent picture.
I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall.
So you weren't able to testify about that?
No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime.
Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence?
The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it.
Edgeworth?
Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false information. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, it's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened.
So it's true. Even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence.
After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today.
She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma.
Show me this permanent picture.
What did you see in the instant that a crime occurred?
Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife.
Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl.
I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms.
Poor Emma. You've been through so much.
Oh, that's her sprite. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good.
2 years ago. You must have been 14. That's understandable.
Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I would become a scientific investigator. I wanted to be able to fight crimes with my testimonies and find evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any.
I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime.
Something puzzling.
There's something that's puzzling me, Emma.
What is it?
You said you were in Lena's office at the time, right?
I was gonna say, actually, why didn't he murder you? Why didn't Joe Dark murder you? Like, he stabbed the guy, then he walks out? Oh, that's right.
Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor?
Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day.
Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police?
Of course, this happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office.
But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office?
Because the detective offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator.
Huh. Across from the elevator? But Lena was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she?
No, silly, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lena was a detective. She was the best in the entire force.
What? That's news to me.
After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor.
Lena used to be a detective? I better have another talk with her.
And that's our lead. Okay, there we go. Let's do this. Let's go to the detention center. Let's go have a talk with Lena.
February 24, detention center, visitor's room.
Lena. Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble.
Falsifying evidence? I didn't think you were the type.
Criminals don't mind playing foul, why should we? But Lena, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks.
Lena.
Emma told me about you.
Oh, Emma told me about you!
Oh.
About how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how the SL-9 incident was the reason you for your transfer to the prosecutor's office.
That's right.
Could you fill me in on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs?
Huh. I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Let's talk.
A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today. Not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago.
Evidence from that case was stolen. I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? Huh. I believed in you, Lana. You were the chosen one. You were supposed to bring balance to the force. I believed that no matter what happened, you would always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul.
Well, all dramas.
Wow!
Phoenix is like, listen. I am not gonna have it for these metaphors. The fact of the matter is, at 5:15, there was another murder at the police department.
Tell me it's not true, Lana. The witness, Miss Starr said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Huh. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me.
I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before.
Detective investigation. It's true, I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. Whoa, look at this action movie duo. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gaunt cracked together.
Chief Gaunt?
Then he was the vice head of criminal affairs, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gaunt. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed.
Emma really idolizes her big sister. Which would explain why her heart was broken when she realized her sister was kind of a evidence falsifying hooligan. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened?
I always planned on becoming a prosecutor myself. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could later use that experience in court. Gaunt's help in the SL-9 case was critical in its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office.
Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago.
The dark investigation. I like that both of those strings of dialogue lead to the same question. I've been recording all day, so my voice is starting to die. More tea, Max, more tea. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dog.
Second in command? That means the chief detective was, no doubt, Damon Gaunt.
Yes, Detective Gaunt and I share the same office and the same investigations. So the possibility is that Dark came in not to murder Gaunt, or no, not to murder Sky, but to murder Gaunt.
They even had the same office.
We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall walked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho.
Whatever that means.
Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when the last murder took place.
When he tried to murder Emma.
Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me.
Ah, now you tell us.
Detective Gaunt and Prosecutor Marshall were the ones questioning Doc that day. So he came in to murder you. The investigation was in its final stages, when Doc must have panicked. He waited until Gaunt and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Detective Gaunt and myself. Or maybe he ran to get the evidence that Gaunt is actually the killer, huh? Wouldn't that be a twist? That's where he found me.
So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana?
It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gaunt and Marshall were questioning Doc. That explains why Marshall came in the defense, but what was Gaunt doing all this time? When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled the blood.
3 bodies?
Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and laid unconscious.
What did you do?
To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her.
Can't blame her, after all, her sister must have gone.
That sentence was way too slow for me to read it.
Can't blame her, after all, her sister must have gone through.
After that, I placed Doc under immediate arrest.
Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL-9 incident.
That's right. Quite a coincidence, huh?
I don't buy it.
What are you saying?
There is no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that accident. Just by chance.
But that case was solved 2 years ago.
At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. And also this guy.
I'm talking about Angel. Angel was also in on this. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark, especially at the expense of his brother's life. Huh. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories.
That case just might not be over yet. Huh. Emma was assaulted by Dark in the police department, right?
Yes, in the office that Damon Gaunt and I shared. The office that Mr. Gaunt now occupies himself. The chief's office.
Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office. The site of the final SL-9 murder!
I like the lead. Let's go. Criminal Affairs.
February the 24th, Police Department, Criminal Affairs. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere.
Things seem kinda quiet around here today.
You're right. The head of the department seems the same, though.
Why don't we go look for some other people to talk to?
Right. We can come back here later.
So this is not the place. Oh, it's not Criminal Affairs, it's the Police Department. Shh.
February the 24th, Police Department entrance.
Howdy, Bambina.
Oh, Mr. Marshall.
I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera. Whatever will be, will be. You never know where life will lead you. Bambina. I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning.
Billy?
Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed?
Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, of course. We all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner.
But Mr. Marshall, why did you do it?
Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one.
Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened?
Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today.
No, you're just gonna talk to us. The dark trial.
Something was fishy about that trial from the very beginning, partner. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so.
What do you mean, fishy?
Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon.
The murder weapon? You mean, the switchblade knife with the broken tip?
That was Joe Dark's, alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised.
The width of the knife. A question?
The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained.
It's the same as with the autopsy, like I mentioned. 12 centimeter knife. But this knife here is not 12 centimeters. Oh, I can't expect it. Damn it. This knife is not 12 centimeters. I called this super early on.
The blade of the victim was not a perfect match.
What does that mean?
It means there was a good chance the knife was not the murder weapon.
Yeah.
However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased.
The facts have been concealed with forged evidence?
That case left behind scars on all of us.
The scars that the SL-9 incident left behind.
I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together.
How old was he? Your brother?
He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very same day.
The highest honor? You don't mean?
King of prosecutors.
Which is missing a chunk still, by the way.
Not that again.
What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor.
Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother.
The day the SL-9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as...
That's right, Bambina. It was the day of the evidence transfer.
Oh my god, you guys, oh my god. I know that this is by the way, this is, okay, the evening of day 3 is the last investigation in the game. After this, we're gonna have day 4, which is the final trial in the entire game. But wouldn't it be stupid if it's like, wait, 2 years ago, they were transferring evidence for another case that is the entire reason for all of this, and I'm sitting here spinning in my chair like, what's true anymore, you guys? I don't even know what's true anymore. The truth is out there. I don't know if I want it, though. I don't know if I want it. Anyways.
Huh. Interesting.
It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was a thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. Time flies when you're just bitter about the past like I am. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die.
Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty.
And I must assume Goodman had it. What if it was Goodman who actually effed everything up? Because we're forgetting that this knife was involved, and it was hidden in the muffler, so that someone would find it, right? I don't know. Let's talk about scars.
There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation said one was taken care of. You know what I'm talking about. Miss Starr was fired and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room.
What about Detective Goodman?
If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. So, no, they were careful enough to not be too obvious.
They?
Who are you talking about?
Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gaunt and Lena Sky.
Gaunt and Sky.
Chief Detective Damon Gaunt and his second in command, Lena Sky. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case.
Look at these two badasses right here. Man, this is a good team right here. I'm not shipping them. I'm just saying this look like people who get work done.
That case was the biggest step in both of their careers.
After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right?
Yeah, Damon Gaunt, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She has never been the same way since she left.
You noticed too?
Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different when she was a detective.
Now that you mention it, Emma said something like that too.
Tell me, what happened to my sister?
Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out.
Lena's secret? It all started 2 years ago.
So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy, partner?
It was certainly, enlightening.
There was one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. It was just used. And the person who used him was no other than Damon Gaunt. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I want to be a patrolman even after today.
That special sprite.
Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. Hasta la vista.
Oh man, that's kinda sad. That is pretty sad, actually. Oh, wait. Oh, now we're back here, okay. I suppose now we actually get to talk.
This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted.
That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh!
Hey, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room.
Oh, thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. The NPC talked to us.
With Chief Prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statements to the media in tomorrow's trial, there's more chaos going than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together, pal.
I think festive is the word usually used for those.
Sir, we would like to have a look around Chief Gaunt's office.
Just head across the hall in the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Man, Max's voice is just about dead.
Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything.
Hey, you're right. You can't go in there, it's off limits.
Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. Let's go to the chief's office. What? What is this like? Okay, real talk. This is not an office of a police person or a chief. This is the final level of a freaking, like, Castlevania game. I'm gonna fight Dracula here. Please feel free to remix this following sequence with the song Vampire Killer from Castlevania playing on the background.
February the 24th. Police Department, Chief's Office.
Yep, this is the theme of a bad guy. There's a picture right there.
Whoa, where am I? Am I suddenly in a Nick Cage game?
Wait a minute, not Nick Cage. David Cage.
David Cage game!
In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door.
Check out the pipe organ. That's real, isn't it?
Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. Bach? Bach? I don't know how to pronounce that name. Oh, I thought I was pretty good. Let me try. I never could remember where C was.
Well, what are you doing in my secret final boss stage? Oh, it's you two.
Chief Gaunt! He put that paper he was reading on his desk.
Oh, so, Mr. Wright, have you been swimming lately?
No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy, actually. You would know. You've been involved. Also, is you talking about people swimming some sort of, like, mild threat?
Also, I like that this is like the little buttons for the police department. You can tell because Meeks is actually, or Meekings, I don't know. Meeks is wearing one too.
I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lena's provocative statement.
Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence?
2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there?
It was broken. No. It's missing the sword. It's missing a sword around it. Yeah. Oh my god, was the sword used for killing somebody? And there's the vase right there. All parts of the investigation. There. Oh, that pierced the. Yeah, that spear. That's. I don't know what word I was saying, but it was not definitely spear tip. Spit tear? I don't know.
That's a picture of Lena, Neil, and myself.
So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall.
Oh, we took it to commemorate our work together.
Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though. The entity picture added to the court report.
Anyway, I would like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention, like doing the outro for this episode. Thank you for watching, thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me, and I will see you on the next episode of Max Plays Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney.